Why is Chesterfield Spire crooked? The iconic crooked spire in Chesterfield is one of Derbyshire's most well-known and discussed structures. Its centuries-old structure is generally universally known by this name, rather than its real name, St. Mary and All Saints' Church. The crooked spire dominates the skyline of Derbyshire's largest town from any direction. True, if it were perpendicular, this would be the case, but its peculiar off-straight features capture the eye right away, evoking curiosity, enigma, and fascination in equal measure. When you get near to it, it's just as intimidating as it is impressive. You also realize that the spire is just the centerpiece of a vast, impressive Grade I-listed edifice. In the midst of the rush and bustle of life in northeast Derbyshire, the church stands majestically. The roads, stores, and sidewalks that surround it are all part of its immediate realm. You have to believe that in centuries past, this magnificent structure would not have had to compete for attention, yet it is no worse for it in 2021. The spire was built about 1362 in an effort to ensure the church's long-term legacy, which was unknown at the time. It's safe to suppose that individuals working on the project had no idea that their efforts would be remembered hundreds of years later when they started. They had no idea how iconic the spire would become, or how closely it would be associated with the town of Chesterfield. The spire's crookedness has sparked considerable speculation over the years. It wasn't supposed to be that way. However, it isn't crooked in the strictest sense. It is twisted and leaning, according to Chesterfield Museum, twisting 45 degrees and leaning 9 feet, 6 inches off its true and natural center. Small margins, but enough to guarantee that this church, Derbyshire's largest, is well known far beyond the county's borders. The use of unseasoned wood during construction is the most plausible, and certainly least intriguing, explanation for this odd architectural joy. The lack of cross-bracing in the construction is also mentioned in terminology that will no doubt make perfect sense to architects and builders. Another intriguing feature, which likely goes hand in hand with the aforementioned theory, concerns a major period in our social history. The spire was built during a period when the country, and the county of Derbyshire in particular, had been devastated by the Black Death. This has prompted to speculation that there may have been a shortage of qualified, experienced labor, resulting in less than ideal procedures that would not have existed before the pandemic. Of course, various theories as to how the spire of St. Mary and All Saints' Church became crooked, many of which have gone down in folklore, have not been deterred by such convincing theories based on reality. Some are true, some are funny, some are fantastical, and some provide a fascinating insight into the minds of the individuals who lived in the area at the time. These hypotheses are diverse and wide-ranging, but one thing they all have in common is that they are all amusing. Listed below are a handful of them. Here comes the sun. One of the more plausible theories is that the spire tipped due to the insertion of 32 tons of heavy lead. The sun shining on the south side of the tower warms it, causing the lead to expand faster than on the north side, and the newly leaded spire could not take the weight, especially considering the flaws in the original wood installation. Given that the lead was added later, it raises the intriguing possibility that, in its early years, the spire was actually straight, as intended. The Virgin Bride. This is most likely when the famous statement, legend has it, is thrown into the mix. The spire, astonished, turned to stare at a virgin bride who was getting married in the church, according to one theory. When another virgin bride is married at St. Mary and All Saints, the spire is said to return to its perpendicular state. The respectful bow. A slightly modified version of the above exists, where it is claimed the spire twisted and bowed in admiration and respect for a maiden of great beauty as she entered the church, only to find it could not move from its newfound position. The devil. There are other theories in which the devil is the main character. The idea that the naughty devil wove his narrative around the spire is perhaps the most well-known. The church bells were dutifully sounded to shock the unwelcome visitor, and while this technique worked, the harm caused by the devil's hasty departure was visible to all. Another legend about the devil claims that a magician persuaded a local blacksmith to shoe the devil. Fearful of enraging the devil by booting him, he unintentionally put a nail into the demon's foot, prompting it to flee in anguish, but not before catching the spire as it fled and altering its structure permanently. Whatever the reason for the church's famed crooked spire, it has indisputable power over Chesterfield and the county.